in that picture, is that hands on junk or hands off junk?
Oh, this is pre-pants shitting. So this is the
right, okay.
So the normal amount of hands on junk.
Yeah, that's the normal amount, which is always nearby.
So by the way, for me, this is hard to hear because I love you, man.
Welcome to the Autopian podcast. This is the entire Autopian staff. We've got co-founder Beau here to be a chaperone.
Hey, everyone.
And actually, I'm supposed to plug membership. I actually don't know what we're doing here on this podcast. Matt sort of put it together, and
this is a well-planned out podcast. I want everyone who's listening to know this is going to be fantastic. So stay tuned. It's going to be sometimes chaos is the best thing, and we're great at chaos, but it's going to be great.
Absolutely. This is the last podcast of 2023, and we're going to have almost all the staff on here. No Jason for the moment, and also Lewin. Poor Lewin is in Australia, so it's very, very, very early in the morning there. But yeah, we just
That's
wanted
no
to
excuse.
talk to right. I'm calling it waking him up right now. We're going to talk through all the biggest stories, really our favorite stories of the year. Thomas, myself, Matt, Mercedes, Beau, Peter, Adrian Clark, Stephen Walter Gosson, whose name you have to say in full every time for some reason.
What about just Goss? Man, I love Goss.
Works. Yeah, I'm fine with that. That sounds fine. Yeah.
Or the
whatever
Goss.
Talking about that.
Yeah, it's all good.
We got some hot goss. Hot
Goss.
All right, well, let's start with you. Let's start with hot goss. Goss, so tell me, what was your favorite story that you wrote?
Wait, did we introduce Adrian too, or was I too focused on the Goss?
You're too focused on the Goss. We introduced Adrian as well.
I apologize.
Well, I love that Adrian. He's overseas. You know, he's up late, but Lewin, he's lazy in bed. You know what I'm saying? Adrian's here. Thank you, Adrian.
Thank
Australia and Britain are right next to each other. They're right the same.
Well,
super close.
So they're just not America, so I thought everyone would just show up. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine.
I'm good to go.
It's not that early. It's not that early in Australia right now.
Okay, I'm looking it up.
You can be
okay. I'm going to jump ahead, and I'm going to mention a couple of big stories for our site this year. Really big one. Actually, a lot of holy grails. People seem to love to learn about new machines.
Oh, love holy grails.
Can anyone guess what the top performing holy grail was this year? So holy grails, for those of you who don't know, they're deep dives into very interesting vehicles. Usually, for the most part, extremely rare. Sometimes very obscure. Sometimes they were sold for just one model year or just in a limited market. Mercedes has been taking point on holy grails. Can anyone guess what holy grail people were most excited to learn about? Anyone have any guesses?
Am I allowed to answer? Or
yes, for the sake of speed, yes, you are.
The comments.
That's exactly right.
The which one?
The headline was
5.9 subs, maybe.
The headline was 2 decades ago, you could buy a Dodge Ram with a manual transmission and one of the greatest truck engines of all time. Almost a million, well, not over 900,000 views, according to Google Analytics. And people just wanted to hear about the Cummins 5.9, which is a legendary 12-valve, unkillable engine. So, that was a good one. Another one that did a lot of page views this year was the BMW i3 that I bought after Thomas made it impossible for me not to buy the i3. He's like, dude, carbon fiber body. It's got an rear wheel drive. They're dirt cheap. What are you doing?
You were worried that you were looking at a Bolt, and you were worried that a Chevrolet Bolt would just bore the ass clean off of you. Yeah. And this was, similar money, similar form factor, but a way more interesting engineering premise. So yeah. Glad your i3 is, living up to the dream, and glad that the stories are doing well.
I'm actually really excited when you couldn't find a place to charge it, get it fixed. For me, I loved all the torture you've gone through with that i3, brother. That has been hilarious.
So the one I couldn't charge was the Leaf. Did you read that story, by the way?
Oh, the Leaf. That's right.
Yeah.
Of course I did.
Oh God, the Nissan Leaf story. If you haven't read the Nissan Leaf story, I'm not saying because I wrote it, because really I don't want you to read my writing. If you're listening to this, you need to read the writing from the tens of thousands of people who commented on the video of me being stuck at a broken charger. It is the most incredible. Look at this. If you're dumb enough to buy an EV, you deserve worse than this. I hope your life, it's so bad. I hope your life becomes so miserable that you move to a red state specifically so that you can purchase a firearm. And then I'm not going to get into it any further because it's so messed up.
That guy just told you to kill yourself. That's
he took it too far. Took it too far.
Dave
too far.
Dave Chungus Connery told you to kill yourself.
And I mean, I'm from a land of no firearms, but my understanding of America is you don't need to be in a red state to buy firearms. You can buy them in a 7-Eleven or something. So
I can get a gun in California. That's it. So yeah, absolutely.
So you can get it anyway.
I can walk down the block and buy a gun in 5 minutes off any street corner. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but
this story. All this was just a 90-second video where I'm just telling folks, hey, I bought this Nissan Leaf. By the way, $1,000. Bought it for $2,000. I'm getting $1,000 rebate. $1,000 car for 2011.
Well, you can see how I got mixed up for a minute because you bought two crappy EVs for very, very cheap. So, I apologize. It got mixed up in my little brain. But and by the way, we're on vacation. So, my brain's still waking up and getting back to work.
Oh, I feel that. 100%. Yeah. So I bought this $1,000 car, and of course it was $1,000. So of course the battery, it has no range, but people seem to latch. Oh, there it is. People seem to latch onto it. Here, 2.7 million views, I think it said.
Yeah, 2.7 million views, 59,000 likes, 1 million comments. Some supportive, many of them calling you a liberal, and then implying that your girlfriend would get you pregnant.
I think someone might have actually literally said that just because I bought an EV and I will say that there is a divide in this country between electrification, like pro EV, and kind of, carburetor tuning folks. And it's just kind of, we're in a weird spot on that front.
Oh, I'm glad we can bring people together and love both,
That's right.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's an American thing. I see that in this country as well. And it's like if you like an EV or you have got positive things to say about them, you're automatically some kind of tofu weaving communist and not a real man or woman, and vice versa. And it's just ridiculous. I had that mini EV earlier on in the year on test, and it was great. It was so quick, and it makes perfect sense. I mean, I got nowhere to charge it because I don't have off-street parking, but yeah, it was a really compelling little car.
Yeah, well, they are. So if I put a gun rack on my EV, does that kind of balance things out?
Yeah,
we should do that. Where's the Smith & Wesson edition F-150 Lightning?
Let's do that. That'd be so rad. I'd do that.
As a social media experiment, just to see what happens.
We can mock it up, see what the reaction would be. That'd be kind of hilarious.
This does raise an important question, and that is the Cybertruck right in the middle of the EV culture war?
Well, it's a great divider.
Some substantial, libertarian-leaning components to it, but it's also, an electric vehicle.
That's a fair point, and but the weird thing is, can you put a gun rack on a Cybertruck because it has that tonneau cover that has to be there at all times?
You can put a gun rack on anything if you try hard enough.
That's right.
Thank you. The Canadian even knows that. Come on, you can put a gun rack anywhere on anything.
But you wouldn't be able to reach in because of those big sail panels on the side. So you could have your gun, but you couldn't get to it. And
gun racks are usually, as the only one on this podcast currently who has a gun rack that I know in their vehicle, my truck, The gun racks are on the inside, right behind the driver and passenger's head in the cab. That's where they're mounted, so you can lock them. So I think on the Cybertruck, you still have that glass right there. You could just sort of wedge it in the seals, maybe. Anyway, on the other side of the spectrum from EVs, we have this, a 700 horsepower supercharged V8 story that Thomas wrote. People really latched onto this. Why is that, Thomas? Why are people so interested in this truck?
It's badass, hot, nasty, badass American speed. This is your, basic work truck with a metric buttload of power thrown at it, and you can get it done up at your Ford dealer, and it's 50 state legal, and it just kicks ass. If you want to do burnouts for a block and haul a bike while doing it, this is the machine right here.
And who doesn't love cheap horsepower?
Exactly. It appeals to, the value proposition for all of us.
Yeah. Cheap horsepower, I'm glad, still clicks. You don't have to write.
I want to point out somebody drove it.
Oh man, that was so fun. Easily one of the coolest things I've driven.
So 700 horsepower under an empty bed. I assume if you put like your little toe, your pinky toe on the throttle, it was smoke show.
Oh, you're just supposed to do burnouts all the time, and the best part is that Ford mounted like regular street tires on it. They're like rated for like 120. So it's like the truck has more power than its brakes can handle, more power than its tires can handle, and it's just it's pure ridiculous. I was laughing the entire weekend.
It sounds like it would almost make dry pavement feel like snow.
Oh, I mean, there's power here and there, but it's like you see someone on the highway and like you're like, yeah, I can take them, and you can't. I won't admit anything made in Mexico. Yes.
I mean, that is pretty. You pull up next to someone in a regular cab work truck, and then just dust them. I mean, that's cool.
If I had $50,000, I would buy one of those cars.
Just to clarify, Mercedes is a little hard to hear because she's in the car that is one of us owns that is most like a sound recording booth.
That's the worst for audio quality.
But she's in motion. The car is driving. She's not driving. We've all checked. Someone else is driving. There we go.
All right, moving on. What's our any other stories that anyone wants to highlight? Stories that they wrote this year that were well received. Just anything anyone want to talk about?
How about this baby Airstream we're all looking at right now?
Yeah, baby Airstream right now.
That makes sense.
The mythical Autopian recreational vehicle that's been happening for like 2 years and is no closer to
absolutely
appearing.
No closer.
If anything, we're further away. But yeah, no, Mercedes wrote about this crazy Argosy GMC, Tornado based camper, which I love these, but I've never seen one done up like an Airstream itself with the crazy, polished metal look on the outside. And there is one out there. And this is also, I want to point out, our second most popular post of 2023. This one's over 1 million people read this. And I get it, because you just can't not see this thing and then just kind of fall in love with it. And it's the little baby one too, which is super, super, super cool. So this one is
the length of a Sprinter van.
Ooh. Do you see the one with the casket? That's rad.
Oh man.
All the flowers.
Yeah.
Airstream's
I know they made a Hearst version.
So that way Grandma can still come on holiday with you. It's
right, Thomas.
That's where Adrian goes, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's Adrian. Everyone, we're looking at a camper that it's an Airstream, and it's a long Airstream, and then in the back there's a hatch that doesn't come straight out of the back like you would imagine. It comes out of the side, and it
comes out the wrong way. Yeah,
comes out the wrong way, and there's a coffin in it, and that's where Adrian's going to sleep in our RV, and our perfect RV that we are never.
I think it's strange how Adrian sleeps all day and only gets up during the night. I still haven't figured out why that happens.
Well, that's why I'm wide awake now at 9 in the evening. That's what I wasn't telling you. Yeah, I've been asleep all day, hanging upside down from the door frame.
By the way, just to go back to our original conversation, it's only 8 a.m. in Australia, so come on. You get up at 8 a.m.? Jeez.
Get it together, Lewin.
Yeah, look on, Lewin.
This is actually another Mercedes story. This is our most popular story of the year by traffic.
Oh, right.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew that, Mercedes. You want to tell everyone about this one?
Well, yeah. So for years, many, many years, if you had a car that did not have a title, or had a sketchy title, or, something was whippy about it legally, you could just mail a bill of sale and some money to Vermont and get back a registration in the mail that you could use to turn into the title. And so, if you just found a barn find or a crappy motorcycle for $500, you can register to Vermont for $150 and then have a legal vehicle again. Unfortunately, at least according to Vermont, a lot of people were using this as a scam and using it as their own quasi-DMV, and they were being delinquent from DMV people, so they decided to shut this all down. So if you find a cool motorcycle or a barn find, you're kind of screwed now. I mean, you can still get a bonded title, but bonded titles cost more, and there's a whole bunch of hoops you gotta jump through. So sadly, Vermont tells the easy way to save old cars.
So how does Vermont compare to Montana in this? Is there any comparison there? Because that's what I noticed. Everyone wants to register their vehicles in Montana.
So Montana, hopefully you guys can still hear me here. So Montana is where you want to go if you have an expensive car and you don't want to pay taxes for it.
Yes, of course. And so different loopholes.
Different loophole. You don't want to register a $500 car in Montana. You want to register a $5,000 car in Montana.
So the Vermont loophole is gone. So if I wanted to buy, say, 1961 Mighty Mite military vehicle, which you're not allowed to register in California because it's a military vehicle, I'd be pretty much screwed then.
Yeah, because you have to get a bonded title, and if you can't push that in California, then you're just screwed by default.
Damn.
So we can't register our tanks anymore or anything? What's up with that?
If your state has something for that, if you have a bonded title or something like that, or especially constructed, but Vermont made it easy, and now you can't anymore.
And it's such a bummer too, because thankfully we got Ski Class, our Mercedes snow wagon project, which will eventually see snow if it ever snows again. It's that one we registered, and it's I just walked in there. I walked into the Bennington DMV, and I just handed them a letter from Jason, an email from Jason saying he can register this car for this random California LLC. And the title was also sketchy from Jersey, and it had been changed hands a couple times. And they were just like, this seems legitimate. And they just gave me license for 20 minutes. I was a little nervous because it seemed too sketchy, and they just did it. And thankfully we got it in under the wire, because never again. Also, that car never got inspected, so it can never, ever go back to Vermont. So the one place it can't go, ironically.
All right.
Oh, the irony.
Steven. Yeah. Steven Walter Gosson is our wrenching hero. Now that I've gone soft in California, we need someone who can, spin a wrench on some, dirt. Oh, who is this? Jason Torchinsky.
Jason Torchinsky, as I live and breathe.
Hi.
How's it going,
Torch?
Hey, he's not dead.
I'm not dead.
You're a sight for sore eyes. God, it's so good to see you, my friend. How you feeling?
You too, Beau.
Yeah.
How's it go? What's going on? What is this?
By the way, just so you know, if you heard the sort of grunting sound, that was Matt vomiting on his keyboard because Jason showed us his scar from his surgery.
Oh, I got more scars. I got 3 weird little holes where they had hoses in me. I got all kinds of.
I got some of those as well, but mine are probably not as good as yours.
I'm sure yours are good. Yours are from the NHS.
Yeah, proper socialist healthcare scars. Yeah.
Mine right now, the weirdest thing and the grossest thing is one of the holes that had a hose in it has a scab in there that feels like it would be so good to pull out like a little plug.
Oh,
well, maybe you should pick at it for a little while.
What?
Just
pick at it, Jason.
Pick at it.
Yeah. By the way, I haven't been able to look at or eat a bratwurst since that one picture video you sent us.
Oh yeah, this incision is actually way better. it's not nearly as bad. It's not like a sausage under there. I sent the video where they shoved the needle in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was good.
I don't want you to miss that because that was very.
I don't think I saw that.
And shaking in like a champ, by the way, Jason. I have to say.
Oh yeah, you grow to love it. It just becomes part of your life.
So what happened, Jason?
Wean off some of the drugs that have been making me like kind of sleepy during the day. So I'm hoping, like, my goal is by the 1st to at least get started back on like cold starts and some light blogging, and then ease back into stuff. So
when you say light blogging, do you mean you're going to be writing about lights?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey now.
Hey,
all right. That already?
Can you tell us what happened?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
For those who don't know, for the podcast sphere of folks who are wondering what we're talking about.
Oh, right. Oh, is this a podcast?
Yeah, you're live.
Yes, you're live, buddy.
Surprise podcast.
Don't recite your social security number, Jason.
Okay. Oh yeah,
all 9 of our listeners are on.
Okay, so what happened is my aorta exploded. There we go. David's got it. So I had what's called an aortal dissection, and I was having a very normal day. I even ran. I felt very healthy and hale, and I probably picked up a car over my head. And then
that was your problem. You went running, dude. Don't do that. not at our age. It's not worth it.
But what happened is my aorta. There's a thing where it's like the old. My Beetle, or a lot of German cars, had this fuel hose that has this braided outside and a rubber inside, and the rubber always decays in the inside and separates out, and you can't tell anything's wrong until it's leaky. That's kind of what happened with my aorta. My aorta, the inner layer separated, and it causes like a fissure, and I felt like this pop in my chest, and then it felt like pure pain that dropped down to my abdomen. And the reason I learned later is because my aorta ripped, or what they call dissected, all the way down to my kidney. So the whole thing just ripped, and there was basically blood flowing out there. And I started to feel really weird, and I texted Sally, I'm having a medical thing. I think I have no. And then I started Googling chest pain, abdominal pain, and jaw pain. And then it was getting bad fast. And they What were you
so
saying,
basically it was like when my Ferrari threw up its water pump, but much worse and much more expensive as well.
Yes, it was like that. And
but similar fluids in the wrong place,
fluids not getting where they need to be, and because the blood couldn't go where
a lot of warning lights. Fun.
Yeah, all the dash lights are on. The check engine light is blinking. Vision getting black at the edges. Everything feels removed. And then the paramedics came and they got me into the ambulance, and then I'm on this weird I felt like a tray. And that's when everything started to really feel like it was shutting down. I shit myself lavishly. And then
but that's normal though.
Off, and I went to cover my junk, and then the very angry EMT yelled at me. She yelled hands off your penis. She yelled it twice. And it was bad. But then at the time, what was actually happening was,
how many times have you heard that, by the way?
Oh yeah, well like I said, it's not Trader Joe's. You can't tell me what to do.
But
doing it right there.
Hearing it from a woman in uniform,
and I look like I'm calm in this picture.
Makes it much better.
But I'm not in that picture. I'm making a big deal face, but in my head, everything was very weird. David says it's like an I fucked up face, and it kind of is. But
that could have been your last photo. That could have been the one.
It very well could have, yeah.
What's that?
So, in that picture, is that hands on junk or hands off junk?
Oh, this is pre-pants shitting. So this is the
okay.
So the normal amount of hands on junk.
Yeah, that's the normal amount, which is they're always nearby.
So by the way, for me, this is hard to hear because I love you, Matt. And it's it's horrible to go through. But I have to ask this one thing, what? How did you shit your pants?
I think here's what it felt like. It felt like all of the things that make your body work were just turning off. Like
no.
vision was going bad, and then like the part that controls, the active part of your digestive
sphincter
that keeps you from shitting just went. We're done for now, and because it didn't feel like regular shitting, it just felt like everything's come out.
So you're telling me
just let loose.
It just you're telling me that the default state of the human body is to shit yourself, and that you have to have systems working to.
I think the systems
shit
have
yourself?
to work. And when the system turns off, it just opens up and whatever
just relaxes. Just
comes out. It's a distress reflex. In a way, it's I was talking about your incident with some family members in the medical community. And they say that first of all, you are very lucky, and second
everyone
of all,
says that
yes, like absurdly like buy a Powerball ticket lucky. But secondly, just shitting yourself is the normal response to something like this. It happens way more often.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do.
And it's involuntary. It's just what the body does.
It was definitely involuntary. I was not thinking the right thing to do now would be to really fill these pants up.
just to crown off the moment, because there wasn't enough distress happening.
That's how to make this day perfect. And those pans were filled. It just felt like everything shutting down, and it wasn't even.
Can I say something funny?
Yeah, what are you gonna say, Sally?
So, hi everybody. By the way,
hello, Sally.
So, when he shit his pants, the nurse gave me the pants in a bag.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Take these home and dump them in the washing machine. Don't even look at them. Just dump them in the machine." And I could feel them; they were super heavy. And I was like, "I think I'm just going to throw them away." But she's like, "That's a good idea. We just throw them away." And then he wakes up out of nowhere, and he's like, "Those are my good jeans." No, they're not. They're sweatpants. And he was like, "Oh,
yeah,
okay."
I was they were not my good jeans.
Even if they had been your good jeans, they were no longer your good jeans. Even if they had been.
Yeah, no matter what, they were no longer my good.
Because a man only has like one good pair of trousers or pants. That's it, and
that
then
is true.
Sacrosanct. The rest are
I
just
do
like
only have
scrubby
one
ones.
good
Yeah.
pair of jeans.
How many pairs of sweatpants?
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, now I have an abundance of sweatpants because everybody was very generous and Amazon list. So
the laundry detergent commercial that would make would be spectacular.
Yeah.
So then after that,
think
this, and in hindsight, I'm realizing this is a lot scarier for Sally and everybody around me because I'm not perceiving that I might be gone. Everything's just kind of closing down and it's feeling weird. And then they had to cool my body down because the aortic dissection has to be operated on immediately or you're done. So it's like an immediate thing. But first they had to cool my body temperature down to like 70 something to keep things from happening. And I'm glad I wasn't awake for that because that sounds terrible. And then I went into like a 3-hour surgery immediately after that. And they put a Gore-Tex sleeve on my aorta, so it's now like a sleeved aorta.
And so you're like Darth Vader now,
sternum, which is why I have this huge scar that goes all the way down because they crack you open like a crab.
Looks good.
Yeah, it was an exciting.
And your surgery was 8 hours.
Oh, the surgery was 8 hours. I'm sorry, it was a lot. Yeah.
Oh, geez, good lord.
It's a big 3 hours. But I'm like, no, David and I were like, oh, he's going into surgery. And it was late at night. And I kept checking my phone like every hour and waking up to see how you were. And then it was just morning. It was just morning at some point. And I was like, what the hell? And it wasn't until I feel like 10 or 10:30 or 11. It was like super late that we got the all clear that you would come out of surgery and you were going to be okay. So we were sweating it for like 8 or 9 hours, David. Not Sally. Sally, I'm sure, also probably had a problem with it, but
I did tell Sally to go home, though. We had that conversation.
Yeah. The nurse was like, this is going to be about a 6-hour long surgery. So you can wait here if you want, or you can go home. And again, Jason kind of wakes up out of nowhere and he's like, "Go home, sweetie. Get some sleep." I'm gonna be here for a while.
I'm busy. I got things to do.
You're such a sweetheart.
It just seemed wrong. Like, why should you wait around there?
So Jason,
it was.
Jason,
luckily, I don't remember much of that. Yeah.
If this was karma who did you piss off most in the year 2023 in your blogs?
Oh, I think I have a guess.
There was Bugatti.
Is the Bugatti people?
There was
people.
Who was it?
Well, there's Bugatti, definitely the Bugatti Veyron people, and they would have the pull. Like Ferdinand Pike could have made this happen probably with a phone.
What
call.
about the Robo Truck?
Oh, the Robo Truck guy.
Oh.
Yeah. Although
I was going to say a whole year of Elon Musk stories. So
yeah,
and he is the richest man in the world.
He is. He could make this happen. He could push a button on a laptop.
So either one of these two guys, it could have been, is what we're saying.
Elon definitely has more resources than these guys do.
Well, they would have done it in a lot of cheaper fashion. It would have been. I don't know what it would have been, but yeah.
When are we going to do the follow-up story to see how many deposits they actually got? And then we can interview who left them a deposit if they got one.
Oh, yeah. Just finding someone who left a deposit would be a great story, actually.
So we're talking about AI text. It's this company, if you want to call it that brought a fake-looking Cybertruck to the LA Auto Show. And Jason and I, we walked over there with cameras rolling, and we looked too closely at this truck, which is to say, we got within 20 feet of it. And
by the way, how dare you look at a truck that's out in public at an auto show? For shame.
It looked like they just put fiberglass panels over a Toyota Tundra or Tacoma.
They did.
And then
poorly.
I don't know what. It's horrible.
That's a kind way of saying
it's worse than that, because like I did better Bondo work as an actual child than I've seen on this vehicle.
Anyway,
it was genuinely horrific.
The original door handle to open the Toyota's door is under the fiberglass exterior panel. You just have to check out the story.
Which I love that you could just kind of peel back and look at too, or
peer
in there.
Peeled back. That was just looking in. That's just how it was. You didn't have to pull anything. It's just how it was.
Oh yeah,
yeah. See, it's just like that.
Oh lordy.
So, who here cringed when they saw this video for the first time? Like it was.
Oh man, it was.
How could you not?
Oh, it was so strange.
And I felt kind of bad. Like I felt kind of bad. We were like, digging into him so hard, but they were taking deposits. They were taking people's money. Like, this is our job. That's what we do.
So they asked to put something positive. Did you find a positive to put? It's a nice hat.
It would be.
It's certainly one of the vehicles of all time.
Right. So if you haven't seen this video yet, for you listeners, the article's titled "They Brought a Crappy Tesla Cybertruck Clone to a Major Car Show." We interviewed them, and it got insanely awkward. And it's just Jason and me looking at this. Looks like a high school shop class experiment at the LA Auto Show, and then two representatives. Well, one specifically trying to defend it, and it just got so bad. It was bad.
I don't mean to harp on this, but I'm just realizing this story published a week before my aorta exploded, and it's just still hard for me to wrap my head around how much shit changed in my life between that week.
Oh shit! Right?
I mean, I mean, when as a designer, when I see stuff like this, I'm just like, oh my god, because it's not even first year grad stuff, standard of design. But I mean, even like the model to bring that out, or if you can call it that, to bring that out in public, it's just, I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's so shoddy. It's just,
Well, that's the curiosity of this whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, when we have stuff in the studio, and I mean, Beau, you will know this because the guys you have building customs and stuff, it's just, you wouldn't show something like, I mean, you wouldn't even be close to having something this bad. It's just, it's just ridiculous. I mean, even like the earliest models you have in the design process are like, 100 times better than this. It's awful.
I don't know.
What you mean? You didn't show a...
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, you didn't show a truck that had stick-on headlights?
Well,
inside the studio, maybe.
No, you would. No, I mean, no. To be honest, in the studio, you would, because like the first thing you would do, you would have. Well, even before that, if you're not sure you want to spend like 3 or 4 days milling a clay, you would do a speed foam, which is like, like if you buy artificial flowers, you have that soft foam. Well, you can mill a whole like body out of that in like a matter of hours just to get an idea if it's going to work. And, literally, just photocopy some wheels and some lights and just stick them on with tape just to get an idea, but you would never, ever show that in public. You'd never see pictures of anything like that because, it's just, to the untrained eye, it just would look amateurish and unprofessional, which is,
And this
what
was
this
dab in the
thing
middle of
looks
the
like.
LA show. And it makes you wonder about who in the LA show is vetting and getting this stuff. I don't know. Like, how did it end up here in the first place?
They also had an Autopian booth, so it's pretty crazy.
Check cleared.
The check cleared, exactly.
Well, that in itself seems like a miracle.
Yeah, the check cleared?
Wait, hold on. I don't think this made the article, but the craziest thing that happened that didn't show up in the video was afterwards, right? The guy with the, we'll just say, interesting haircut, goes, oh man, this isn't a scam. You think this is a scam? No, Lordstown Motors, that was a scam. I used to work there. That was his line. This isn't a scam.
Yeah, that's right. He said
something
along those lines. Yeah, he said something along those lines. Oof.
Yeah.
When he said he worked at Lordstown, I was like, maybe you don't tell people that. That's maybe not the main.
But at least they actually built some vehicles at Lordstown, didn't they? There were some actual trucks.
Well, more than that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they did.
Well, they had some completed vehicles.
They built like 5 or something.
Yeah. Right around that number.
And before that, I think he was at Faraday Future, and then he was. Oh, never mind.
I drove by the Lordstown plant a couple yesterday. Yesterday or the day before, I drove by the plant, and now it's all Foxconn because Foxconn bought it. So it says Foxconn everywhere on the old Toledo.
Well, they were going to build those along with the Fisker, and then Foxconn's the one that I don't know. They seem to be pedaling backwards these days.
Fisker. Do you have a Fisker, Beau? Do you have one?
I don't have one currently, but one was brought by, and I got a chance to drive it briefly, though. So not enough to do an evaluation. But we can get one for you at Galpin. Just say the word, and we'll have it brought by.
I've been seeing them around. I think they look good.
Yeah.
They look really good. The interior, I thought, was really handsome. I mean, hey, Fisker's a brilliant designer, but it drove really nice. I was pleasantly surprised, and it's got some cool, I want to say, gimmicks about it, like the rear little window that rolls down. That's a little window for the dog, and he's always doing some clever things in there. There's a dog window. It's so great. I don't know why they don't advertise the dog window. Everyone go crazy for the dog window. But it's actually very well done.
Yeah, and even beyond that, I mean, the sport's now shipping, and that's the Ocean Sport, and that's now what, about $40,000 or so?
Yeah,
that's a lot of EV. Yeah, that's a lot of EV for the money.
Yeah. So it's happening.
So where's the dog window? Can we see the dog window in this image here?
So that scroll down.
The very rear window, the small one there.
Oh, the rear quarter window. Oh, that's
right.
Yes.
There it is.
Now that dog's out the very back, but see that little tiny window? Right there you go. Oh, the other one. The one that's
one next to it. Wow.
But I feel Torch has something to say about the tail lights on that.
Well, they're doing the thing. They're doing the bumper taillights, which nobody likes, and they have the upper ones that are confusing because everybody wants to look at the upper ones, but all the action's actually happening in the bumper. Kia has shown that everybody hates that, and I think that's a bad trend.
So what are the upper ones for then?
I think the upper ones are just the tail lights, like just
the tail light.
And then the lower ones are brake, indicator, and reverse. So
and the side repeater on the pillar is a running light and an indicator, turn signal.
Oh, is that a turn signal up high there?
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. At least
on the pillar, yeah.
So maybe maybe there's no indicator. So maybe it's just brake lights in the low part.
And reverse. The
reverse.
The lower
reverse you can get away with down there. But why didn't they just use the upper area for the brake?
I wonder if it has to do with the minimum surface rules.
Probably, but they could have made them bigger.
Well, they do have that huge chimsel up here.
Is it huge chimsel? And if those are the indicators.
There is.
Wait.
I mean, there is legislation about the total size of the lit area.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, but I could probably look it up. But then just make the tail light slightly wider.
Yeah,
it just
exactly.
feels like, oh no, we're going to have these really narrow, like slit tail lights, and then we must have that, and then to hell with everything else. We're just going to chuck it on wherever we got a bit of space. And
So, Goss,
SWG.
tell us about your favorite stories from the year.
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say big thanks to Beau for having me and all of us here, and also for Jason for being here and for joining us today and just being awesome in general. Well, for me, I see you got Matt's putting the Buick up on the screen right now. The Parkamino.
Can you read the headline for us, Stephen?
I bought a 29-year-old Buick with 68,000 miles on it to prove the haters wrong. I chose that headline because Matt had bought his 5 Series, I think the day before or right around then, and he published a piece right before that said he bought a 5 Series BMW to prove the haters wrong. So I said, well, let's just keep that theme going, and I'll do it with the Buick Park Ave. There it is, exactly. Matt proved his haters wrong, and I tried my best to do the same with the 94 Park Ave, because there's a lot of them out there.
Sub $1,800. I love that. It's an important price class. Sub 1,800.
Oh, this is way below that. Yeah.
So did you choose it? Did you show them the wrongness of their ways?
I think that's the jury's still out on that one, to be honest.
Yeah, it's pretty shitty. I gotta be honest.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
You might have actually strengthened the haters with this one.
Yeah.
Right. So what's going on with this thing, Stephen?
Can we go back and look at that sun visor again?
Yeah.
It looks like part of the Dead Sea Scrolls or something.
Was this thing underwater at one point? Like, what's the deal with it?
So what happened with this car was the GM made the moonroof drain lines out of this plastic that eventually just gets brittle, and then it dumps all of the water anytime it rains right into the headliner, as you could see right there, which turned into a petri dish. And then even when you pull the headliner out, it then just dumps it right onto the interior. So the seats are soggy, the carpets, the insulation. The whole car has been soaked since... I think I did the math, and since I think David was in high school was when this car started getting wet, and it's been wet since. So there's some grounds. The funny thing is that both fuse boxes are at the bottom of the A pillars, so they've been taking quite a shower as well. So we're working on that. Work in progress.
They say, Stephen, it's you cannot spell Superfund without Superfund.
That's right. This thing is an EPA Superfund site, no question.
I'm sorry. What did you pay for that?
I think I got it for the princely sum of $400.
Okay. That feels better. When you said 1,800, I'm like,
because it said 1,800 in the subhead. But $400, I mean, the scrap is about probably close to that.
Yeah.
So by the way, that's as a car dealer, you know what that is, right? That's what they call $100 car, man, and that's being very generous. Yeah,
yeah.
Because it costs us more to have it towed away, and then we have to junk it and all that because it's that's pretty bad. How's the black mold in that thing?
Ooh,
terrifying.
Can't be good.
Yeah, it's the kind of car that you don't feel bad about cutting the roof off and trying to make a Parkamino Ranchero out of it.
Yeah, now we're talking.
This car would have been better off if it had no moonroof and you just left it out with the windows down.
Adrian's not pleased.
Pretty much.
It's classic
evaporation.
How can you guys are just... You see, when I see a car like that, I think, oh my God, this is amazing. It must be saved. And you guys are like talking about cutting the roof off. And yet for me, as a European, I want to see like that mint sitting in the middle of Galpin Autos on a turntable on a velvet cushion with
this car?
Because it's yes. Because it's so alien and exotic to me Like, look at let's check off the checklist of American crapness. We got like a huge engine making no power. It's got a column shift.
Yeah.
It's like Vela on every part of the interior. And, I mean, look at those gauges. I mean, it's just, it's magnificently crap. But to me, it's like so different to a European car. And I just think that's amazing. It's even got the classic GM key that goes in upside down, and I just think this, it should be how many more are there? As another podcast says, find another.
This car is so boring.
It's fantastic. It's majestic.
Is this a Regal? What is this? A Buick Park Avenue?
It's a Park, it's a supercharged Park Avenue.
You can find these in decent shape all over the place. These are not.
Oh, it's supercharged as well. Oh my word.
Yeah.
Supercharged.
Yeah. Well, suspension.
Granny had a hot rod.
Well, I mean, the average owner age of these vehicles is somewhere between old and dead. So, they're bargains all across the country.
It's pretty messed
So,
up.
Stephen, was Shrek mad when you took his car?
What was that, Mercedes?
Was Shrek mad when you took his car?
Shrek, yeah. I grabbed it from the swamp.
Yeah.
He was. You know what? He thanked me because he got an extra parking spot now, so he's looking for something to replace it with.
Yeah, he should have paid you. I got to be honest.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Stephen, did you look at the story with the TikTok video with the guy power washing the inside of his car and think, maybe that's the way to go?
Oh, make it worse.
I think you're onto something there, Pete.
Yeah, that video went viral. Someone just started to power wash the inside of their car, and I think Lewin wrote about that. Basically said don't, which is about the only advice you can give on that.
Yeah, it was something
comfy bed still.
Yeah, stupidity from TikTok. I mean, I know that's a shock, but some TikTok stupidity there. But going back to that, we have a saying in the UK. I've taxed worse, and that means when we have to go and pay our registration. Yeah, I've probably had worse. So
yeah.
But I do understand Adrian's point, because I'm sure there's some crap that he would roll his eyes at that I would find fascinating.
Like my diesel manual minivan.
Yeah. Something that popped up on another friend of the site today, who has his own car selling site, and he got a Mercedes A-Class, and it's I
love A-Classes.
$11,000, and like all of UK car Twitter is like, holy shit, you can buy these all day for like £1,000 on eBay UK, and nobody wants them.
He doesn't even want that car. The funny thing is,
no, he spent like $11,000 on it, and he doesn't want it.
He doesn't like it. I called him when he got it, and I was like, "Hey, man," because he often will drive pretty long distances and connect coasts, and I'm like, "Oh man, are you gonna drive the A-Class?"
We're talking about Doug, for the record.
Doug DeMuro, yeah. Doug bought an A-Class because he thought it would be great, and then it was not. And yeah, he was just like, no, I'm not driving this car across the country. It's so much worse than I thought it would be. Which is funny. I feel like it would have been cheaper for him to fly to Europe, drive it, find out, and then just not buy it, because the answer is what you want is the Audi A2. The Audi A2 is the good one.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I have a question for Adrian. What's the worst car in England? And we'll see if Torch digs it.
Wow. That's a. You mean like the worst car you can buy new, or
used, like this piece of shit?
Yeah, the equivalent of Steven's piece of crap.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would probably be like some kind of, I don't know, I would say like late 90s Rover or something. I think you guys you called it the Sterling, didn't you? It's like the Rover 800. It was based on the Honda Legend.
I actually like those.
There's still a few of those kicking around. They were, they were kind of popular at the
the ones
time,
that had the 4 round lights that had like the tops cut off of them? Is like that era of Rover?
Oh no, later than that. That one you're talking. This is the one I'm talking about.
Those are great.
Yeah.
These are awesome.
These are awesome.
I almost bought one this year.
Oh my god, Matt!
See, so if this was just filled with mold, we would be all over it. So now we're sympathetic to you, Adrian.
100%.
I feel like I feel like a Rover 800 or whatnot would be worse than a dodgy Corsa, but I'd rather be seen in the Rover because of the implications of the Vauxhall.
Look at that. All of these are
these are all terrible. But the thing is, actually, those Rover 800s, and this is a Montego we're looking at now. There's actually very few of them left on the roads now. So, so actually, they are rare and worth preserving. I mean, I still think they're dross, but
Yeah.
I would love in red just for the pinstriping part.
Look at the cool, like the D pillar window that this thing has.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay,
it's kind of cool.
We have to find a Rover 800 or a Rover Montego when we go to Silverstone, or so when we go to Goodwood for the Festival of Speed. We should just try to get the worst British cars, just to piss off Adrian. Just find.
Well, you say that, but I could probably find. I could plug into a UK car Twitter and find one, so that we could have a go in.
Yeah.
So absolutely. I mean, come on! I drove a 1990 Mark V Escort a few weeks ago, so
I love that story. Speaking of Adrian stories, Adrian wrote a bunch of great stories this year. But I loved the Escort.
Everything I write is great. Yeah. There's like Shakespeare and then there's me.
I mean, there's some truth to that. So I'm going to highlight a couple of.
As far as we're concerned, you are our Shakespeare. It's true.
Right.
Beau. You.
Adrian's just drinking it in.
Absolutely. You know why there's so many comments on my articles? It's because half of them are me. So
actually, that does help. Also, this story did better than I expected.
Yeah,
we had
you didn't want to run it, David. Yeah, we. So.
Well, I love our absurdly long headlines. They're just so
this is the longest headline. Look at this thing. You want to read it, Adrian? Because this is one of our longest headlines.
It's amazing.
We need to have a newspaper, so this could be the headline.
Hold on. Let me get my best BBC accent on here.
Yeah, there we go.
A car magazine convinced me the 1990 Ford Escort was trash. Now that I've driven one, I'm here to defend it from the classist and wrong-headed editors of the October 1990 issue of Autocar.
See, this is the those guys. Of the story that I love, just because
gold.
We're really sticking it to 1990 Autocar, which I feel like
I mean, the guys who probably wrote this are probably dead now, anyway. So
that's what I was thinking. Did you phone up their widow? Their widows
next of kin.
Yeah. By the way, your dead husband was wrong. Suck it.
Yeah, exactly.
So wrong. I'd like to highlight a couple of other great stories of the year, including the one where Jason used a chainsaw to cut a battery out of his Changli.
Probably unrelated to my health issues.
Yep. I'll also note, Adrian, your story about the Aztec, where you described just how easily a great design can turn to trash, and sort of the mechanics behind that was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Thomas wrote about the Dodge Hornet, all the crazy stuff happening on the forums, which was incredible.
Hit that hornet's nest, man! It's just everywhere now. Just
apparently
pouring out.
Apparently, the Dodge Hornet is a pile based on people's complaints on forums. That was awesome. Then there was that piece about why driving short distances can kill a newer Honda CR-V. People are really interested in like those Achilles heels that Thomas has been writing. It's been a great year. We need to figure out some predictions for 2024.
Ooh, 24.
So, I mean, I don't know exactly, Matt, where you were going.
Autopian, number one automotive site in the world. There's a 2024 prediction.
Well, we're already there in terms of quality, but you're right. Size-wise, we got to get bigger.
Number one in viewerships.
There is a non-zero chance that there will be another matching pair of cars in the Autopian fleet other than the shared of XJs between you and Rob.
An i3?
Wait, two E39s. We have two E39s now.
Oh, wait, we do. Sorry, a third pair.
And also Mercedes has a Scion IQ and Beau has an Aston Martin Signet, and those are like 90% the same.
Okay, that is close enough.
Yeah.
While we're on that subject, look how objectively terrible this dome light is. This
Wait, does it move
Oh,
around?
it's cool. No,
See,
that's a
that's
cool
good
dome
because
light.
that's a spotlight.
Yeah,
It
it's so
doesn't blind the.
useless.
It's not
No, it's
useless.
good
It's a
because it doesn't-
directable dome light. I think it's
It doesn't-
Yeah, that's great.
You can
Yeah.
read two
It looks
words
like
at a time. You got to move the light every.
It's like a lightning thing.
But there's
looks like a
no
titty.
glare on the driver. You just like it does.
Yeah, it's like an areola or something.
yeah, that's even
Right,
better.
yeah.
Any other
That's what I'm
predictions for
attracted to.
2024? Auto industry predictions for this upcoming year.
Beau.
Faraday future will become Faraday past.
Oh, Faraday future would compare Faraday past Mercedes. That's a pretty good one. Beau, you've
That's a
got your
good one.
finger on the pulse of the auto industry. What's coming up this year? Can you predict?
Well, I
Rock.
think it's been said a lot, and the 2024 is the year of the consumer. Back in control, you're going to see larger inventories, more incentives. I think interest rates are going to come down this year. Pricing has come down dramatically for used cars and for new cars, and I see that trend continuing. So I think it's going to be a great year for consumers, and hopefully a big year for sales, being that I'm in the sales business. So, but I think it's a time of optimism, and I wouldn't have thought that 6 months ago. But strangely, now I'm thinking it.
So we mean cheap
Yeah.
cars are coming back? We need some cheap-
Well, I think the cars that exist will be cheaper. But even Mitsubishi's getting rid of their cheap car. I mean, there's not going to be many, if any, cheap new cars anymore. That's difficult. But the cars that are out there are getting cheaper.
I mean, Beau.
Now we are
aren't
going to
the-
have a shortage of off lease cars that start next year, so that's going to kind of screw with the market a little bit because we have literally a fraction. I mean, probably single digits of lease return vehicles compared to 3 years ago because of leasing going away in sales in 2020 and leasing going away 2021 and 22. So you're going to see a lot less recent used cars. And that's going to affect the market as well. But anyway, it still should be very good. And again, prices are coming down.
Yeah, and like to sort of add to Beau's note. I mean, a lot of Americans shop on a payment rather than an outright price.
Oh, everybody. They do in the UK as well.
Yeah. So with the rate holds looking to be locked in potentially through 2024, and used car interest rates not being the most attractive ever, maybe that shortage of 3-year-old off-lease models, some of that slack can be taken up with deals like I'm seeing Mazda is doing 0% for 60 months on the CX-5. I'm seeing 0% on Ford Edges. I'm seeing 0% come back to the marketplace.
Wow,
and
that's right.
Yeah.
And that's what they're using to attract instead of the leases, because leases haven't been as attractive lately. But leases are coming back as well.
Absolutely.
Again, I think the car companies are going to need to step up next year. And if we get some rate cuts, it'll be really great, which I think we will.
What about mergers? We see any mergers happening in the industry?
Ooh.
Any weird shit from Tesla that we need to worry about?
Yeah, I mean, Cybertruck is going to be big news throughout the year as these start to go out into the world, and how people use them. I think we're going to see, because I don't think it's going to be that great for just truck stuff. I think loading is difficult.
It's not a truck for truck people, though.
No, but
it's
I think
a truck for Silicon Valley. Want to look like they have an active lifestyle type people, not proper heartland.
We're gonna. I think we're gonna see interesting stuff. Like as people try to use it for things, I don't want to say anything necessarily good or bad, but I think we're gonna see plenty of stories from that. I think.
I just had to say, I saw the first one. I was driving down Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah,
it looked amazing. Yeah, it really did. It's so cool. I hate to say, I could pull around from this is the most ghastly, awful looking design I've ever seen in my life to, oh shit, that thing is freaking cool driving down the street. It's very striking. And I agree, it's not a work truck, but it's a cool truck. I hate to say it. That's my competition. I'm complimenting him.
I'm going to be a bit controversial here, and I'm going to say that my prediction is that the biggest Tesla story of 2024 will not be the Cybertruck, but Instead, we are due for a refreshed Model Y. That is one of the most popular vehicles in the world. If they take some of the stuff they learned with Project Highland in the Model 3, take some of the stuff they learned from the Cybertruck, that could be really, really interesting, especially as they already have production lines. They're able to ramp. They're not building from complete scratch. So I think that might actually be, from a consumer standpoint, the bigger deal of 2024.
And also Tesla will merge with Daihatsu. That's my other.
Oh boy!
Well,
yeah, that's going to be that's the big story for next year too. Woo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Daihatsu.
They're on the ropes because they're not making cars now. Here's the thing: that story bothered me that they're not making cars because they were genuinely one of my favorite modern car makers. They make interesting stuff.
Well, to be
they've
fair,
only been
they're still
falsified
kind of
safety records.
Yeah, it's fine. They're still kind of making cars outside of Japan. Like they've been off and on. Like it hasn't been completely universal, but it is weird. And I'm curious. David and I had a long debate about this. Like, how much does the Indian, because Daihatsu is so focused on outside of Japan, Asian markets and other markets.
By the way, we're talking about a scandal involving Daihatsu and like sort of neglecting certain safety protocols, et cetera. It was
only for the last 30 years, though. They've only falsified safety records for 30 years.
You have to look at their footprint in the United States, 0. Their footprint in Western Europe, 0. But it's like the rest of the world, the BRICS type countries where they do actually sell cars. And what are the implications there? We know their safety standards are nothing like, Euro NCAP
They're not.
FM,
and they still had to falsify
FMVSS. So yeah,
man,
so
you do not want to run those cars into something.
Yeah, you don't.
They look. Their lineup, their Japanese lineup is so good though. Like style wise, they're so good. I'd happily risk being in a death trap for.
Blog it, Jason. Blog it. It's a great blog.
Yeah, I'll blog it. That's your first blog back. I would die to live in a.
Now that I've already cheated death once.
You're immortal now.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I just want to say that one, Jason couldn't let me have my going to the hospital in the back of an ambulance story. Couldn't even let me have that, man. You had to. I just want to get that out in public. You had to outdo me there. And the second thing, I'm glad he didn't die because I didn't want any of his shitty cars anyway. So, because I know if I die, you're all going to be fighting over my Ferrari. So,
I'm having to bring Jason another car. I mean, you could probably.
He doesn't need any more stress, David.
It's a Toyota. It'll be fine.
David. But it's in that story. The POW got kind of short. Like POW is totally reliable. I just happen to hit deers in it every now and then.
Totally the morning that your heart exploded.
It's a deer magnet.
That week, yes.
Anyway,
a David Toyota is not like a regular Toyota. David's standards are not quite.
It's $500, but I'll be delivering that in a couple of weeks. So you can expect that for 2024. I'll be delivering a $500, 240,000 mile Sienna to Jason, and
we're gonna fix my truck, right?
Yes. First, I have to fix the van. It's in St. Louis. I have to do the struts. Then I have to drive it to Jason, and where it will be his most reliable car. And then I have to fix your truck, your RV, your.
I'd rather get the Beetle unseized first.
Correct me.
If we just get the truck first.
I'll help with the RV. The RV sounds right up my alley.
Anyway, my prediction for 2024 is that none of Jason's currently inoperable cars will change and become operable. That's my prediction.
That's grim.
I mean, the Sienna, isn't that Sienna coming up to its second timing belt interval?
It'll be fine. What were you going to say, Matt?
I was going to say my prediction for the year is that we do not buy an RV, though we will talk about it.
That was going to be mine as well.
Come on.
We'll keep talking about it, but it won't happen.
But the most fun is the shopping, let's be honest.
One?
Use mine. Just take mine. We can do whatever with it.
Yeah, we should take his. We should get his running again.
It's in fact Torch is the new David now, isn't he? Because David has moved to LA, got rid of his front yard full of cars that don't work, and now Torch is the guy with the yard full of cars that hit deers and don't work. And
Pink FRX.
Well, I can tell you that 2024 at the Autopian is going to be fire. You're going to see more wrenching content. You're going to see lots of great engineering deep dives, news. We've got Peter on board here. He's hasn't really said a whole lot, but get used to him because he's a wonderful addition to our team. A true car nut. The brilliant mind who has been tweeting from our account for well over a year. So if you've been laughing your ass off at our Twitter, that's Peter. He's
hey, Peter.
Yeah, say a few words, Peter, so that people know your voice.
Hello and thank you. I am thrilled to be part of the Autopian team. I worked very hard to become part of it. I just kind of got one little toe in, and I was relentless about getting to where I am right now, being part of this group, and it's a blast and so much fun. And let me assure everyone watching, listening, that the level of cool that the team here seems to have, they actually have. They are this nice and this fun, and it's great to be around, and I'm really thrilled to be here.
Yeah, and we are thrilled to have you. We're going to kick ass in 2024. We've got Lewin in Australia to make sure that we
Mr. Sleepyhead,
that we don't get beat on news overnight. And then when Jason comes back, we're going to be firing on all cylinders. Get ready for some incredible content. 2024. Thank you for listening. This has been the Autopian Podcast.
Woohoo! Thanks, everybody.